Today's encouragement was provided by Our Daily Bread Ministries.
Welcome to Jesus and Tim in Las Vegas. I'm not Jesus, I'm Tim, but I'd like you to join me the next 26 minutes. You're going to be blessed, and you be praying, won't you, that God will touch the folks that tune in. Welcome to Jesus and Tim in Las Vegas.
And hi, everybody. This is Sherman Ray, and this is the Jesus and Tim in Las Vegas show. I am not Tim, folks. I'm filling in for Tim today, and I want to thank Tim. Tim's actually out on assignment right now. He's out handing out tracts all over America. So I want to thank Tim for asking me to be a part of the show today. Once again, my name is Sherman Ray. I'm pastor of Sagestone Church, located here in Las Vegas. I want to thank not only Tim, but I want to thank the folks over here at KKVV, the Gospel Airship, for allowing me to be on the show today. So thank you so much. If anybody's out there and you're a pastor and I'm in the facilities right now, hopefully you can see me on YouTube or on their Facebook page right now. But if you get a chance to come to Las Vegas, you want to be on radio, contact the folks here, folks. It's just a fantastic show that they've got going on there. I think they got started, 1990, I believe it's been. So they've been on for a little bit. In studio today, folks, we've got Tamia Dow, folks. This is going to be awesome. I'm going to bring her on in just a couple minutes. We're going to talk to her. She's a filmmaker, former detective here in Metro, and a chaplain. So I'm looking really forward to speaking with her on some timely things that we're going to talk about. And before Tamia comes on, we're going to have Pastor Aaron Newton. He's going to be on in just a couple of minutes, and we're going to talk about the prophetic. Yeah, it's going to be very cool. I know a lot of people don't talk about the prophetic. We're going to talk about the prophetic in just a minute. But before we do that, some of you are probably wondering, who the heck am I? Who is this guy? Well, my name is, once again, is Pastor Sherman. I've been in here in Las Vegas for many, many years. Been a part of a lot of ministries that have been a part of here. Way too many to talk about, as a matter of fact. Let me tell you about just one. When we first got here to Las Vegas, my wife and I, Linda, who's in studio with me right now, my bride of 32 years.
Wow.
32 years. I know. It'll be 33 years here in February. When we first got into ministry, which was, well over 30 years now, we were with the International Church of Las Vegas. And I remember when ICLV was West Valley Assembly. Mm-hmm. It was many, many years ago. It was a small place at the time. And we were part of that first wave of people who brought that little bitty church into the valley. And years later, we built the big sanctuary.
Yes.
And now, when we left the ICLV, I should back up. When we first got to be a part of ICLV, probably had about 200-300 people. And when we left ICLV, we were hitting about 6,000 people.
Yes, we got large. Yes.
Yeah, it was huge. As a matter of fact, Tamia was there too. That's right. That's when we first met Tamia.
Yes.
Out on the trail. So. And now we're kind of coming full circle now. We served at ICLV for many years, and now Linda and I are starting our own church, and it's called Sagestone. Sagestone is a homegrown startup. We're very excited about it. You'll probably hear a lot more about this in 2024 when we officially make our official launch. Ahead of our launch, we actually started a ministry, and the ministry is called Step Up Nevada. And Step Up Nevada it's a homeless ministry. The Lord put a burden on Linda and my heart. Gosh, many years ago, we were able to work with people who are just they haven't been able to get their feet on the ground. So we started Step Up Nevada. We actually had our first food drive, which was just a couple of weeks ago. It's still in process right now. And I want to thank, before we get going, I know I'm talking about so much stuff here, but when we first started Step Up Nevada, one of the things that we really wanted to do is we wanted to connect with the community. Because right now in Las Vegas, I think we're pushing about 5,000 or so homeless people. And we've got almost as many veterans. And it's an amazing number of people that we know that the Lord wants to touch. And so we've been able to partner with people out in the community. Starbucks, I know of all organizations. I want to thank the folks at Starbucks because they stepped up and Mario over at Mario's West Side Market.
Oh, awesome! Mario's awesome.
We're gonna continue to shout him out even after we leave the show here today. You'll probably hear more and more about Mario's, and because we'll be partnering with them from now until forever. He opened his doors to us,
Yes.
and we're just excited about that. Also, Heaven Sent Bookstore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so many of you have probably not heard about Heaven Sent Bookstore. They're over there off of Craig Road, and they opened up their doors to us and put out a big red tub that we had for the ministry, and so we're very excited about that. And one of our last partners I want to really mention is Eric Snoreen over at the Springs Church. Eric and his congregation opened up their arms. At this point, I think they're probably one of our biggest donors, which is great.
Oh,
They've
nice.
been doing a great thing.
Right.
So anyways, it's just a ton of stuff. So as I said, in a couple of weeks, you're going to hear a little bit more about the church, Sagestone, because we've already got the ministry up and running, but we'll be adding into the ministry portion of it an actual church. So we're very
Nice.
excited about that.
Looking forward to that.
Oh yeah, should be cool. Well, on the line, folks, I'm going to introduce somebody who I've been working with for probably about a year now. He's a former military guy. He's worked in the Navy. He's done all kinds of stuff, and currently he's my partner in crime. I'll probably put it that way. He's our partner in ministry. He's a prophet. He's a man that we're going to talk a little bit more about prophecy. That's really what we're going to talk about. His name is Aaron Newton. Aaron, are you on the line now?
I am.
Oh,
hello, people.
yeah. Hey, how are you doing, brother?
Hello, Aaron.
I'm good, and you?
Doing awesome. Aaron, just a little background on you. So when you and I first met, we were working at a church, a local church here in Las Vegas, and I was leading worship. Linda and I were leading worship, and your lovely wife, Cecilia. And so we were doing worship together, which is great. But at some point, you started saying, "Hey, I'm having these dreams. I'm having these visions." And
Yes.
and we recognized pretty early on that, hey, you're not just having dreams and visions; these are prophetic visions, and the Lord has given you a glimpse into it. So, when did you first find out that you were being moved in the prophetic?
Well, please excuse me. I am recovering from a cold, so
That's fine.
but I would say really 2020, maybe the very beginning of 2021. I don't remember having dreams or waking up and like, wow, I had a dream. But all of a sudden, one day, I had this dream, and it was so detailed, and just I remember every single thing about it. And I told my wife, I'm like, Cecilia, I had this dream last night, and I don't remember having dreams. And it was basically about what's happening today.
Mm-hmm.
And there was just so much detail, silk red bags, and the way money was stacked, and a broken window. It was just so very detailed. But I just kind of, maybe it was just a dream. I just kind of,
Yeah, sure.
I wrote it down.
I think a lot of people have dreams, and they say to themselves, maybe it was pizza or something like that.
Sure.
but in your case, how did you know that these were actually? Because we talk about the prophetic a lot, and what is the prophetic?
Well, I think it's a glimpse into the future. And I think that God speaks to us, and either we listen and obey, or we just chalk it up to pizza.
Yeah, sure.
And for me, they started becoming very frequent every single night. And
Yes.
some were very, I would say it was more of a visitation than it was just a dream. It was very specific to a certain topic, and just I felt things in the dream. I felt wind touch my arm, and and moving the hair on my arm. So I knew that it wasn't just dreams. It was a little more.
It was a little bit more, sure. Now let me give you folks who are listening to this broadcast a little more detail on this. I would talk to Aaron, Pastor Aaron, almost every day, and almost every day he would tell me about a new vision or a new dream that he had. So these weren't just like every once in a blue moon. This happened, correct, Aaron? I mean, these were happening pretty much every day.
Yeah, every day. I knew that a lot of people just kind of chalked it off as whatever, but I had to tell somebody because I'm noticing these things are starting to play out in real time, in life, in the natural. And so I had to tell somebody, whether people listened or not. I had to make sure that it was out there, because when it did come, like, wow, look at this. Doesn't this sound like this dream? Yes, somebody knew. And so, I mean, I'm not a famous prophet. I'm not I don't have a stream or nothing, but in my group, my friends, my circle, it really was how our life was playing out.
Oh yeah, definitely. And speaking about that, Aaron, there's many of us have heard of Chuck Pierce and people like that who are well-known people who moved into the prophetic. How are your prophecies or the glimpses that God has given you? How do your prophecies or the dreams line up with people like a Chuck Pierce?
Well, what I've noticed is there's a few that I listen to because you just feel like this is kind of the same thing that he's telling me. But I will say this, I will have a dream or a vision, or God will speak to me, and I will tell my wife, hey, something about 3 months. And then maybe 3-4 weeks later, I'll hear it. Mm-hmm. And these prophets are lining, all kind of saying the same thing. And at first, when this first started happening, I thought to myself, they're all talking to each other. Sure.
Crazy. They're all calling each other on the phone, right?
Yeah, they're all calling and
the
making
prophet
sure they're all in alignment.
Right? Yes.
but I'm telling, maybe you or your wife or my wife something, and 3 weeks later, they all are saying the exact same thing.
Isn't that amazing? I'll tell you. And it's kind of like the flow of the Spirit.
Yes.
Aaron, we don't have a lot of time, but I do have to get this in because there's a lot of people that are listening to this broadcast right now, and they're saying, wait a minute, I'm having dreams too. I'm having these, it could happen during the day. It could be, a word of knowledge or something like that. For those people that are out there, I mean, what would you suggest? You become aware that it's not just pizza, but you really feel like God is speaking through you. What should people do when they become really aware of stuff like that?
So this is it's taken me a while to understand how he speaks to me, and how I need to understand and apply it, and even be aware of things. And so what I do, as soon as I wake up, I write it down.
Yeah.
I write down every single detail I can remember.
Okay.
Because one day you need to refer back to these.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you'll forget things. Or, I mean, I don't know how to explain this, but if I don't write it down right away, maybe in an hour it'll kind of go away.
Sure.
And I have to pray on it, and then I will be reminded. So write it down. Then pray about it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have somebody you can tell, it's just tell somebody. Maybe a lot of people just don't want to believe it.
Sure. Well,
but
it's funny because I think you and I've talked about this before. Moving in the prophetic is like a muscle, right?
It is.
But it's something that if you accept it,
and
you have to use it, accept it, and begin to move in that. This is a much longer discussion. We're gonna have to bring you back at some point, Aaron. We really do. We got to talk about this some more. There's a lot of people that God wants to use to speak to the wider, Christian community, and He's using prophets today to do that. Aaron, I want to thank you for being on the show today, brother. We'll have to get you back on the show at some point. God bless you, brother, and we will talk to you soon. Okay?
And I'm listening for your word, Aaron. I know you got one for me. All right, bless you.
Bless you guys.
Bye.
Thanks a lot, Aaron. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That is so exciting,
Yes,
isn't it?
that is.
Yeah, so for some of you, you're going, who is that other person that's in the room right now? Well, so Tamia Dow is here in the room, folks. This is going to be fun. Tamia, before we get going, what did you think about the whole prophetic thing?
Oh, I totally am. I believe in the prophetic,
Yeah.
and I've walked in the prophetic. I say it past tense because it's interesting how you said about the muscle.
Yes.
Because if you don't use it, you do lose it, right?
Yes.
And so I get little inklings, and I'm like, oh man, because I studied under Pastor Denise.
Pastor Denise,
You know,
sure.
so I know that talent is in me.
Mm-hmm.
I just have not been using it.
I know, but it's got to be something to use.
I tell you what though,
Yes.
that the word for 2024
Mm-hmm.
about all that we went through in 2023 has set us up for open doors
Oh.
in 2024,
Okay.
and even more
Yes.
in 2024.
Open doors and,
even more.
Nice.
Exactly.
I
In
like
2024. And I believe that's been, like you said, it's flowing through the spirit.
Yes.
So you hear that from other prophets, other people who will say, this is what I'm feeling from the Lord. This is what I'm hearing from the Lord, is that 2024 is going
Yes.
to be a day of, or year of just like open doors,
Yes.
open opportunities, divine appointments,
Yes.
things that we never even thought of or dreamed of,
I know.
because of all that we went through in 2023.
Wow.
But the purpose of those incidences in 2023, all of them, the deaths, the loss, the everything you can think of,
Mm-hmm.
is lining you up and setting you up
Yes.
for a very successful 2024. And you had to go through them
Yes.
in 2023
You had to go through 'em. Yeah.
in order for you to be ready for
Yeah,
2024.
you had to go through them. I like that. Because sometimes I think people go, well, you know what? I want to have expansion in my life. But I don't want to go through anything. You know,
Right.
I don't want any pain. Okay.
Right.
Well, before we get ahead of ourselves,
Yeah,
folks,
right.
we-
I was going to go into the
I know.
prayer of Jabez.
Yeah, I
and
know.
all that.
We're going there already, folks. This is what happens when you get Christians together,
Amen,
folks, and they just
amen.
start talking about stuff. In the studio here with me, folks, and once again, I want to thank Tim. For those of you who are tuning in, thinking you're going to listen to Tim and Jesus in Las Vegas, and you're going, well, who? That doesn't sound like Tim. Well, I'm Pastor Sherman, and Tim has asked me to sit in for him. You guys be praying for Tim. He's out on assignment right now, handing out tracts all over America. So we're just praying for him that he does a wonderful work. And when he comes back in next week, he'll have a great word
Of
for
course,
you.
they'll have an awesome
He
testimony.
will.
Yes.
In studio with me today, folks, is Tamia Dow. Tamia Dow is a former Metro detective.
Retired.
Retired.
Metro detective.
I know. I was going to
I
write
get
that down.
checks.
I know. She's retired, folks. So she's not just poor. She's getting checks.
Yeah, come on now.
And Chaplain, filmmaker, and
Best-selling author.
best-selling author. And I got her in the studio today. And some of you probably recognize that voice because she actually has her own show here on KKVV, and it's called Tamia Talks Talent.
Talents on Mondays at 4 o'clock.
Mondays at 4 o'clock. So a shameless plug, right?
Right.
No, she's infectious. She's vivacious. We love her, folks. And when I was asked to do the show, I said I got to have Tamia on. I got to have Tamia on the show here. So, but one of the questions I want to ask you, Tamia, starting off, because I don't know if anybody knows this, Tamia, what came first for you? Because you were already in Metro, you were doing your thing there, you were protecting people, you were watching society, and but inside of you was a filmmaker, and inside of you was a chaplain. Which came first, and why?
Well, I would imagine that the chaplain came first.
Okay.
I didn't have the title, but I was already doing the work. I got saved on the job, basically.
Oh.
And it's a lot. It's an interesting, but I'm going to make it quick.
Yeah.
Okay. What happened with me was I was in the military, so I was a military police officer. Went to the Metro Police. Metro put me in high rankings because I had all that training and this kind of thing. And I tested high, because the Lord had it in my plan for me to be a police officer. I knew that,
Okay, sure.
So I went to the police department and I had a degree. You got my UNLV, you got my alma mater on there.
Know. Come on, folks.
I had a criminal justice degree from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. I said, hey, look at me. I'm coming to Metro, and of course, to walk in all of that I just told you, to complete a degree, to be a military officer, you walk in a confidence. You walk in this, So I was like, I'm coming to Metro and I'm bringing that with me,
There you go.
I'm
Sure.
ready to share this with my city, blah, 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 And I thought, oh, they're going to welcome me with open arms.
course.
They're going to be like, the parade's going to be happening,
Yes, waiting for the confetti
You
and
know?
stuff. Yes.
And that did not happen,
No,
okay?
it generally doesn't. No.
It was an interesting situation because it was 1989.
Oh.
And at the time, I was the second black female that had ever been hired on that police department.
Okay, sure.
And my training officers told me, "You are a token, and we're going to do all that we can do to get you out of here."
Oh,
Okay?
my-
But bear in mind,
this
I
is
told
called
you.
a reality check.
Come on. And I told you what I came with, right?
Yes,
I didn't just
you're-
like come off the street, and
No,
they said,
you
"Oh,
had
we
this,
want
this,
this
and
little
this.
black girl to come and be a police officer." I came with stuff.
You had
You know?
yes, you had everything, right? I mean,
Credentials.
yes,
you
you
know?
had the UNLV sweater.
Yes, I had my UNLV sweater. I had my Army hat, you know?
Oh my gosh.
So actually, that's what actually happened to me was I couldn't believe how I
Yes.
was being treated. I
Sure.
couldn't believe how I had training officers adversarially telling me, "You took a white man's job and we're going to get you out of here."
Sure.
And I was like,
Wow.
what did I do to prepare for this?
Sure.
And the Lord put me here.
Yes.
So how,
But nothing prepared you for this,
That.
though.
No.
For this.
exactly.
That's the crazy
Exactly.
part about it.
So I ended up, at the time I was going to Trinity
Is it Trinity Life?
Life Center.
Yes,
Trinity
sure,
Life
sure.
Center. I was going to say Trinity Bible Institute, which I went to right after I got saved.
Yeah.
But Trinity, so I met Trinity Temple it was, and
Yes.
then it became Trinity Life Center.
Yes.
And I was raised Catholic.
Okay.
So I
Yeah.
had not accepted the Lord yet.
Yeah.
And it was literally the breaking down of people not recognizing who I was in Christ and
Yeah.
basically all that I had accomplished to get there and that I was not a token,
Yes.
that just broke me.
Wow.
And so I
Really?
went forward on an altar call. I gave my life to the Lord
Yes.
on that altar call because I was like, "Lord, I don't know what you want me to do, but
Oh.
I'm sure not enjoying this environment,
So-
with all this negativity and everything."
So to me, is it safe to say that adversity brought you to the cross?
Yes, indeed. Yes.
That opposition, because you, like you said, you had all the paper stuff.
I had all the boxes
You had all the
ticked.
you had all the boxes, but it was adversity that the Lord said, "No, to me, I've got more for you."
Right.
And the only way I can bring out more in you is by putting pressure around you.
Right.
That's amazing. Huh?
Right. Yeah. Some people know the story. Most people don't because of my attitude. And
Yeah.
I truly believe that attitude is everything. How we choose to deal. It's like bad stuff happens to everybody.
Sure.
It's how you choose to deal with that bad stuff when it does happen to you. And do you let it allow you to be set down, to be, to be pushed down, or do you let it allow you to grow in strength,
Yeah, sure.
And so from there on into my life, I've always taken it as, okay, you're trying to push me down, then I'm just going to get
That's
stronger
it.
and push up and get strength.
Isn't that awesome? Boy, time flies so
I know,
fast.
it sure does.
It's all right, but we're gonna let's get to your films here, because that, I think, actually speaks to what you're going through, because you
Yes.
go into filmmaking now, and I mean you've already retired,
Yes.
and you're into filmmaking, and of course you're thinking, all right, yes, it's going to be just as easy as it was,
Well, it wasn't easy. So
but how did what you'd gone through in the line of duty,
military and police work
how
got
did that
me
prepare you
totally
for film?
lined me up for film. When I talk to people and I do interviews after, when I go to film festivals, they interview the directors.
Yes.
And I always tell them, I say, I learned on the job, and that basically was a police work. And a police officer comes on the scene. When I retired, I was a detective working in domestic violence. But we come on the scene, we assess the scene, and then we decide what needs to be done on the scene.
Yes.
A director comes to the set, and they come on the scene, and they look and see what needs to be done, and then they make sure that whatever needs to be done needs to be done.
Sure.
I mean, I make it
So it's
very
the same-
simple like
it's the
that,
same
but
thing.
it's the same.
It's the same thing. So
Even in
detective
the
work.
military, it was the same thing. I was an officer, so the officer comes on the scene. It was very similarly set up.
So, in short, being a detective is the same as being a filmmaker. That's it. It's the same thing.
Could be if
be.
you have other skills.
You have other skills.
You have to have other skills too. I've been blessed because I am not just a director. I am a award-winning actress. I just won an actress for my film Lauren's Choice, which is a Christian film
Yes.
talking about a woman dealing with depression.
Uh-huh.
And you've seen it. You
Yes.
saw it.
Oh,
We
sure.
showed it at the showcase there.
Yep.
And I also produce. Which means I pay for everything. I'm
Sure.
feeding my
You're the
folks.
producer.
Yes,
Sure.
I'm the producer. You guys, that's coming out of my retirement income too. So if y'all want to bless us, sister, okay.
Yes, that's right. So,
Filmmaker Tamia down on Cash App. Okay. Anyways,
yes, this is serious. This
it is serious
very
because
serious.
but yeah. So I learned from military. I learned
Yeah.
from police work. I learned how to get on and make things happen.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what law enforcement has really done with me, is allowed me to become that director.
Yeah.
It's allowed me to become that producer of
Sure.
films, 17 films, 17 short
amazing.
films,
Wow.
over 25 awards. And not only to mention, because I know we're running out of time,
Yeah.
but I've also helped over 80 people write their stories in the books in the Chaplain
Yeah,
series.
let's mention your book.
Called Faith is the name of the series.
Yeah.
But we've done books as Jesus Is.
Jesus Is.
You know, we
Yeah.
have Faith Is, which
Yeah.
is the original book. Forgiveness Is. Grace Is, and the new #1 release
new
is
one?
Grace Is. Just came out last
Very nice.
week. And it is #1. So I
Number one
praise
already.
God for just the unique
Tamia.
ways that I'm able to evangelize, and it's not a traditional way to evangelize.
I know. You know, I wish we had more time to talk more about this, because we were going to talk about more of this, because what she is an innovator, folks. Not just pursuing a passion. This is creating, and this is completing, and I'm looking for the right word. This is living out the Great Commission.
Yes, indeed.
God said to go ye therefore into all the world,
Yes.
like disciples. And that's what Tamia Dow is doing.
And this goes, and film goes, it
Yeah.
all goes. It evangelizes. Praise the Lord.
Thank you, Tamia, for being a part of the show
Thank you
today.
for
And I want to
having me.
thank everybody that's been a part of the show today. This has been the Tim and Jesus in Vegas show. Thank you once again, folks. This is Pastor Sherman Ray, lead pastor of Sagestone Church. We'll talk to you soon.
God bless you guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Jesus and Tim in Las Vegas. If you don't have the assurance that you're going to heaven when you die, you need to repent of your sin right now. Say, Jesus, I'm a sinner. Forgive me for my sin. Come into my heart right now. And if you're on the verge of suicide, go to fullyfreefilms.com, fullyfreefilms.com, and watch the movie Exit. I hope to see you here, there, or in the air. God bless you.